get right to it. Easy peasy. And clean up these targets in the meantime. Dodging projectile? Oh, okay. Are we talking side scroller projectile or something like that? I can start doing that. So what you would do is you would go to Scratch, and then on the top left you'd click Create. Again, go to Scratch, top left, click on Create. And so if we're going to be dodging a projectile, I already have a base game like that. It's called like Turkey Terror, and you're like a turkey dodging axes, which is very Thanksgiving. I made it for like Thanksgiving probably 3 years ago. So, yeah, so we can definitely do that. So first thing that we would need is Scratch the cat to be deleted. So I just deleted him. So we need to grab a brand new sprite, and you can do that by going to the bottom right here, this little cat, and clicking on that. And if we're going to be dodging projectiles, you can either choose the projectile, or we can choose the thing that shoots the projectiles. So it could be, I'm trying to think what is the coolest thing that we can pick here. Magic wand makes like a lot of sense. Pants would not make sense. Robot would make sense. That'd be fun. This is a cute little robot. Let's see. A speaker can shoot like sound waves and stuff. We got Tatiana. We got Taylor. We've got Trish. Got unicorns. Yeah, man. I don't know. What's your idea here? I think we go. Honestly, I think we just go with the magic wand. I think it makes. Well, no, that's a thing that could like shoot the projectiles. So I think we go for someone that looks like they can like dodge something. So we could do the parrot. I think that would be kind of cool. Yeah. So let's do the parrot. And let's give him cooler colors. Now you don't have to do this. This is purely cosmetic. Again, what you have to do is go to the bottom right, click on choose a sprite, and then just pick whatever one you want. It doesn't have to be the parrot, but again, like that's the one that I'm gonna do. And I am going to change his colors around just a bit, just because I feel like it. And that's the thing, is in Scratch you can do whatever you feel like. So he's just a very warm colored bird now. And in fact, all of his colors are like just a little bit soft, which I don't know, I kind of like. So there we go. That's his colors. Unfortunately, now I also have to make these match. Otherwise, every other frame he'll be turning blue, and that would be quite silly. So one thing you can do is I think it's called a teardrop. It's a color picker tool. My bad. So you can do like pick a color, and then you can go back down here, and then you can select that, and then you can go up here, go up to this one again, use the color picker tool, grab that color, and come back down and do this. Again, this one's totally optional, so I'm not going to spend any time on it, but stuff you can do, a lot of cool stuff in terms of art and artistic abilities that you can manifest here. So you can put in text, you can erase, you can like draw with a brush, you can click undo so that goes away, you can do the line tool, which is really useful. All of this art is vector, which just means that you can zoom in on it, like expand it, shrink it kind of infinitely without it losing any resolution. You got the circle tool or the oval tool. And then if you want it to be a perfect circle, you just hold down shift and it'll just be a perfect circle. Same thing with the rectangle tool. It'll be a perfect square if you just hold down shift. So that's kind of, those are some tips. And again, I'm going to get rid of all of those because we don't need them. I'm going to go ahead and choose a backdrop as well. The backdrop's going to be on the bottom right. And if you get hit, you lose. Okay, yeah, I like that too. So again, we're just like bringing in the most basic art. I kind of think stars are good. I do like high contrast between your main character and the background. So stars are really good because it's super black. Night City is also good. Galaxy is fine. And then also you can just do a color. So you can go up here to paint. So instead of choosing backdrop, you can go up here to paint. And then you can just like fill in with a color. And it can be like whatever. It can be like dark gray. It can be like kind of super dark blue. And you click convert to bitmap and then just, okay, never mind. You just have to draw like a giant rectangle. Ta-da! Now you have a background. So you can do that. And then again, you can choose any one that you want. It's not really going to affect the code. But those are different options that you have. So, and you can switch between backdrops as well. So, now let's actually get to the code because, oh no, my bad. We have to actually do the projectiles. So, a lot of different themes you could have here. If you were getting items, instead of, like, I know we're avoiding items, but if we were getting items, then you could choose the star because those are commonly something you'd get in a video game. We can avoid skeletons, snakes, squirrels, unicorns, you know, whatever. And now in space, it could be anything. Could be bolts of lightning. Could be, like, literally whatever you want. I'm trying to think. If a dragon was flying at you in space, that'd be like really bad. Let's say like the parrot's on a diet. He's trying to avoid the donut. That'd be funny. I think the best one would be homework though. You're just trying to avoid homework. And just like sheets of homework get thrown at you. I think that would be kind of funny. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? This one's going to be kind of silly, but we are going to say that there's a baseball game on Earth going on, and the batter is like so strong that they're hitting baseballs up like past the atmosphere. And so these baseballs are going to come, and if they hit you, then you're toast. So we're going to have to dodge the baseball. So there are a couple of things that we need to do before we're able to actually create a game that we can play, is just like think about, okay, how is this game going to be played? So because you're the bird, you're going to want to be able to like fly around the baseball. Again, you can choose whatever you want for the sprites. That's not really going to matter. But for the baseball, I think I'll show you how to make that and with the clones. But I think what's more fun is to start with the parrot and to start with movement. So you want to be able to move up and down, okay? And I think this is really important to learn. So typically you, first off, on the left side, this is where all of the code blocks are. So you can see as I'm scrolling that they will change colors essentially. And that's because, and you can click on the different colors too, but they will essentially allow you to, excuse me, sorry, trying to adjust the mic so I don't yell at you. Yeah, welcome, second viewer there. Great, let me know who you are and where you're from. So that'd be fun. But yeah, so right here, this is where you drag the blocks in. And to start anything, you really need to start on the events tab. Honestly, I wish they put it first, but whatever. So we're going to drag in when this green flag is clicked. And then down under control, we're going to drag in a forever loop. So whatever is in this forever loop is going to happen forever. So if I click on this and drag turn clockwise 15 degrees, watch what happens. Like the bird will continuously turn 15 degrees forever. So now I'm going to take that out. I'm going to delete it. And I'm going to tell it to go back to how it should be, which is always direction 90. That's like the base direction that things should be coming in, right? But I actually think that this would be great code for, well, actually, not for the parrot, but actually for the baseball. So let me drag that in. And I'm going to delete it here. And then I'm going to click the green flag to kind of reset things. And the baseball rotating does make a lot more sense. So again, this is not necessary, but you can do it. It's when the green flag is clicked, drag in the forever loop. The forever loop is under control. And then you drag in that turn 15 degrees, right? And so that's going to keep spinning that way. So if you want to do that, again, that's not really necessary. That's how you do it. So we're going to try to create the parrot's movement. This is probably the most important thing that we'll be doing today. So you drag in this if, and then there's like a diamond shape, then. So right, if, diamond shape, then. So this is like an empty spot. And I don't know if you've noticed it, but like it kind of eats it, makes like a little sandwich, right? So if you click on sensing, then you can put in any of these diamond blocks, okay? So we're going to say if a key is pressed, so if, let's say, the up arrow is pressed, then we probably want the bird to go up, right? So the way we do that in Scratch is we say change Y by 10. So now when I press the up arrow on my keyboard, the parrot actually goes up. But there's no way to bring him down yet. So one trick that you can do, again, just to break these blocks all apart, is when the green flag is clicked, you've got the forever loop. Then you've got the if-then loop. You put that if-then loop inside. Then you put the change Y by 10. And then you put the key up arrow. And again, you can find the key up arrow in the sensing tab. It's that kind of light blue color. Now there's a kind of a trick. If you can right click or do a 2-finger click if you're on like a tablet or a Chromebook, then you'll get this menu and it'll say duplicate, right? And so if you press duplicate, you can actually just put it right in, and then you don't have to do that, over again. So I just find that pretty cool and, quite easy. Now we're going to change this one to down arrow because you need to be able to go up and you need to be able to go down. And you can actually choose any key on the keyboard. You could choose like the letter M and the letter P. Like you could get real creative with it, but I'm trying to make this pretty predictable and pretty playable to other people. So, yeah. So now in order to go down, we actually just need to go the opposite of 10, which is going to be -10. All right. So you go up and you can go down. So now you should be able to dodge the baseball. All right. I am going to take a break. I'm going to be right back in about 20 seconds. Alrighty, and we're back. Welcome, third viewer. Go ahead and tell us where you're from. Thanks for coming today, obviously. And if you, yeah, basically we're here on Scratch. We're making this game where we're dodging this ball, and we're the parrot. So it's basically an item dodging game, but you can use any sprite that you want. So welcome to the stream. Very much appreciate it. Okay, so this is the code that you need to go up and down, up and down. All right. So that's the way that works. And, you know, again, this is the baseball that's going to be coming at us very soon. If you want to get super fancy, you can also go left and right. We don't really need that in the beginning, but you could add it later. So we're just going to keep it super simple for now. And that is what it looks like. So I don't know if you want to take a screenshot or whatever, but I can come back to this, but that is how you build this. Again, all of the blocks are on the left. The control blocks are here. That's where you'd find the forever loop. The sensing blocks are here. This is where you find the key press. And then this is where you find all of the movement blocks. In this case, the change Y by. Because Y, and I'm going to show you this, under backdrops, if you go all the way to the bottom, it'll give you an XY grid. And so you can see the bottom here is negative Y, or is Y negative 180. And at the very bottom, and then Y 180, and then X negative 240 on the left, and positive 240 over here. And so actually in the middle is X0, Y0. So 0 is actually in the center of the project, which is sometimes requires you to think a little bit differently about things. And so like 100, 100, 100, and 100 are right here. Or like X100, X negative 100, Y100, and then Y negative 100. So that's the way to kind of think about coordinates and how those are used. But those are kind of shorthand for directions in Scratch that are pretty useful. So we're going to have that up for now, just so you can see where things are on the grid itself. So now let's actually do the fun part, which is making the baseballs like actually spawn in. And these baseballs are going to hit you and you will lose. That is, you know, what we want to be doing here. So this is what we're going to do. So the truth is, this baseball is not going to be the one to actually hit this bird. In fact, it's going to create a clone of itself. So that's a really fun thing. So we are going to duplicate this, but I'm going to, just for simplicity's sake, we are going to go over here into events, and we're going to have a forever loop, right? So you can drag that one in. And then it says, wait 1 second. I think we're going to say wait 2 seconds. And then, and the motion that it's going to make, like the motion that it's going to make is, we want it to essentially go up and down, right? So we want it to basically stay at X200. So let's tell it to do that. So at the beginning of the project, we're going to say go to X200 and Y0. So now if we click the green flag, boom, it'll go exactly where we told it to go. It'll go exactly there. Click the green flag. Boom, it pops right there. Okay? So that's exactly where it goes. So this is the code to do that. When the green flag is clicked, go to X200 and Y0, and then wait 2 seconds. Inside of that forever loop, then we're going to go to control. And then we are going to go ahead and create a clone of myself. Now this is a little bit silly. But it's essentially going to create a clone of itself every 2 seconds. If I grab it, look, there are all of these clones already. Every 2 seconds, it's making a clone. It's like copying itself. And it's just going to keep doing that. Okay. Now, if you do that, your computer might, or your browser might crash, or it might freeze up. So you got to click the green flag to make sure there aren't too many clones. And you want to have this. When I start as a clone, delete this clone for now. And then we're going to put some code in the middle of that. So we'll go ahead and get caught up to this point. So I'll give you a little bit of time to be able to get caught up to this point, right? When the green flag is clicked, go to X200, Y0, forever, wait 2 seconds, and create a clone of myself. So again, every 2 seconds, it's creating a clone of itself. But then when I start as a clone, the clone immediately gets deleted. That way we don't freeze Chrome or Safari or whatever you're using, Brave, Opera GX, whatever. But the clones are going to be doing some pretty cool stuff. So the clones are going to like shoot left. And if you look at the lines here, to go left really just means to change X from positive to negative. Right? So we really need it to go 200 or 400. So let's actually try to do that. So when I start as a clone, I'm going to go up to motion. I'm going to say change X by negative, let's just say 100. All right, so let's see what happens here. It looks like it's happening so fast we can't see it. So I'm gonna duplicate this. Whoops. Okay, so now when I start as clone, it's gonna move to the left, and then it's gonna delete. Man, it's deleting stuff too fast. I'm gonna have to put in a wait command just so you can even see it. So you can see that like the baseball shows up. Right? It moves 100, then it moves another 100. But it doesn't show any kind of like animation. So if I do, move change X by negative 100. Oh, whoops. Ha! That would be so far off the screen. Okay, let's try this again. So now it's just showing up, boom, all the way over here. It's just kind of popping. It doesn't look like there's any movement, right? So, yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to actually use the code differently. So I'm going to delete some of this code. I'm going to say, let's go to change negative, 20. And we're going to put that in a repeat loop. So now look what happens. Now you can see the baseball actually shooting to the left. And I'm actually going to change it by negative 15 so that you can actually get out of the way as the parrot. Otherwise it'll be like too fast. Now I think we need it to repeat more times because it's only coming to this middle line. And we want it to go all the way to the end of the screen. So I think, messing with the numbers here, I think we change it to 30 here. Now you could actually do the math and see how far it goes, but you can also just like try stuff out and see what happens. So now the baseball is successfully like rotating and then shooting all the way across the screen. So that's really cool. Now, it's also pretty boring in the sense that we know exactly where it's coming from and we know exactly where it's going and there's no randomness. I think if we really want to make this fun, then it also has to be random, right? So also, I don't think it needs to wait that whole time. So we're going to change this to 0.5. So, or yeah, maybe even 0.2, depending. Yeah, 0.5 seconds is even too long, which is half of a second, by the way. So now, boom, it pretty much pops. I do think maybe if we just did 28, maybe that could be some of the lag there. Oh, you know what? Actually, that was fine. So we're going to keep that at 30. Okay. So, yeah, so far so good, right? The baseball is shooting, the baseball is spinning. This is where we're at with the code. So this is all of the code so far on the baseball. Now, you don't have to do this code at the top. This just causes it to spin in a circle. It's like, this is not, you don't need this. But these are the ones that you really need at the bottom with it creating a clone of itself and going to a specific position at the beginning of the project. So that is what you need. So again, welcome. Go ahead and put in the chat where you're from. You do the state, city, country, you know, wherever you're from, whatever you feel comfortable with. And anyway, we're glad to have you here. So yeah, absolutely. All right, so yeah, here's what we're gonna do. We're actually going to cause the baseball to go at a random position, actually. So you see how this is it says forever turn 15 degrees. We're just gonna actually delete that. Like I said, we don't need it. So instead, we're gonna say go to a random position. So if you do that, look, the baseball is showing up all over the screen. Is going pretty much crazy. Well, that's not exactly what we want, right? So what we want is for it to go to a random position, but then set the Y to 0. Watch what happens. Kind of magical. Wait, what? What is it doing? Oh, my bad. We don't want the Y to be 0. We want the X to be 0. See, sometimes I even make errors. Okay, so we're going to say set the X to 200. So now essentially the baseball is going to random position all the time. And then every 2 seconds, it's going to shoot a baseball. And then that baseball is going to come across the screen at basically a random position. So you don't know where it's going to come from. So if we were going to play this game right now, hold on, let me kind of pull the parrot back a little bit. Okay, so I think I can like actually dodge these balls pretty easily. I think that's like quite possible. It would get more difficult like if the I think that one hit me. If it went a little bit faster. And then obviously we want the parrot to like if he gets hit, like I just got hit there, for that to actually like show up. Right? So that's what we're going to do next. And we're going to say, and we're going to have this code underneath the parrot. So let me just shrink this down like a little bit. But if you have the green flag clicked, when the green flag is clicked, you do forever. And we're going to do an if-then statement, right? Which is this little sandwich here with the diamond in it. It kind of looks like a T-Rex if you think this is the eye or something. Anyway. Sensing if it's touching, and you're going to select baseball. So again, the program is going to always check to see, hey, am I touching this baseball? And then if the parrot is touching the baseball, then we're going to we can do anything we want. We could say, tell me it's game over. Or we could say, you know, hey, you lose a life or something, right? So I think what we're going to do is go down to variables and click on make a variable. And we're going to call this lives. Again, you go down to make a variable, you type it in, and then you press Okay. Now I'm gonna delete that variable with a super long name. But that's what you want to do. You want to make a variable, and then if touching baseball, then I would say change lives by -1, right? Because you're losing a life. Like you're not gaining a life when you get hit by a baseball. So if I clicked on this, now you can see like when I touch the baseball, I lose a life. But I lose like 20 lives every time I touch the baseball. So if you've ever played like Mario or any other kind of platformer game, usually there's a period of like invincibility, basically where you can't get hurt anymore. So now I have what, -167 lives. So that's now I'm at -200. So that's too many. So we want to put in a wait command. So under control, I'm going to say, hey, cool your jets, wait 2 seconds, so that if I get hit, let's get hit with another baseball, I lose 1 life, but not like 20 lives every time, right? And then the other thing is we don't want to start the game with like -250 lives, right? We want to start with 3 lives, I think. So you say set lives to 3 at the beginning of the game. So again, we click on the green flag and we have 3 lives. So now I can get hit by the baseball and then bada bing, bada boom. Now I'm at 0, but now I'm negative. Again, you shouldn't be able to have negative lives. So we basically have to do a little bit more code, and we have to say if and we have to use operators here. I know it's a little bit, a little bit spicy, a little bit complicated, but I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so if we're gonna put in the if then statement, if our lives are like less than 0, we're gonna go down to lives, and you see the circle lives. You gotta drag in the circle lives. So you gotta click on variables to go down to these blocks and drag in the circle lives. So if lives are less than 0, then that's going to trigger the end of the game. So he's going to say game over. Actually, he's not going to do that one. He's going to just say game over. Which is kind of funny because the bird's telling us game over. Like, that's kind of like if Mario were to say that. Which wouldn't make any sense. But anyway, that's the way we're doing this game. So the bird is going to say game over, just like that. And then it's going to stop everything. So under control, you can scroll down and click stop all. Okay. So now let's see if it actually works. So let's try to get hit by these balls. And boom. And as soon as we get negative... Oh, it did it too fast. I actually couldn't see the game over. So if our lives are less than 0... I don't know. I feel like maybe we should do less than 1. But anyway, you can choose less than 1, less than 0. Yeah. Go ahead and put in the chat where you're from. We'd love to hear from you. And love for you to ask questions. This is a learning environment. So I was going to say game over. And then I would say like wait 2 seconds and then stop. Okay, so let's try it again. Click the green flag. See what it is. Again, I'm actually trying to get hit by the baseballs here so I can see how to lose. It says live 0, and then now it's a -1. It says game over, and then it stops everything. So that's how I want my game to be. Now, if I don't want it to say -1, then if I just say that if the lives are less than 1. So, and then it'll just do it at a different, at a different level. Okay. So that's one way you can do it. And stop all means basically freeze all of the code blocks everywhere. So again, this is to zoom out a little bit. This is the code for the parrot. This is like the entire code. So if you came in late, you want to see how to do all of the code for this, you can do that. Also, I'm going to put a link to the chat, or whoops, link to this project in the chat is what I meant to say. I can't tell if this is a shared project or not. What? I am so confused. File. What? I'm going to save it to my computer real fast, just on the desktop. Huh. This is weird. Like, it's not showing things that it should be showing. Okay. Huh. There must be some kind of glitch. Huh. Yeah, it didn't save my project at all, which is super weird. The good news is that I saved that project to my desktop, so I can load from my computer on the desktop. There it is. Okay, and here's our project. And now it says saved, and now I can click share. Okay, perfect. And I'm going to name this Baseball Dodger. Okay, so I'm going to give notes and credits. I'm going to say, Mr. Mafaz helped me with the idea to create an item dodging game. Yeah. Press up and down on the keyboard. So the cool thing is, this is live. And I can actually share this link in the chat. So if you go ahead down to the chat, you can actually click on this link and it will take you to the project. And you can see my code at any time. If you refresh your page, you will see whatever the current code is at that time. Because yeah, this is real. Like, this is really a project I'm doing. This is really my profile. So now that I've shared the project to you, you can actually see the code, and you can also click on remix if you just want to copy it. So yeah, so that's a cool way to kind of skip ahead, or at least get to where I am. If you want to remix my project, that's perfectly fine. You know, basically in Scratch, it's really cool to remix stuff because it shows you like, hey, it's fun to take other people's projects, build on them, make them better, make them worse. Like, whatever you want to do with them, you can do that. You have like complete freedom, which is really, really fun. And it helps you learn how things work. So again, I'm back in here. I'm on the bird, you know, the parrot's code, so that you can look at that. But again, I gave you that link so that you can copy it down. But this is how you like move around. This is how you have lives. I'm spilling on myself like I'm 33 years old and I haven't figured out how to drink from a tumbler yet. Still working on that stuff. A lot of talking. We'll do that. All right, perfect. So we can go ahead and continue. Now, I do think it's a little bit strange. You know how like we have this baseball and it's zooming up and down and it's shooting baseballs, which like that's fine. But it's a little bit distracting to have this be random. And we can never really reach it with the parrot. It's not really, do you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, why do we even have that there? So what I'm going to do on the baseball, so you click on the baseball, and by clicking on the baseball, then you can see the code inside of it. You go to looks, and you go to hide, okay? So now the baseball is just going to hide, all right? And when I start as clone, I need to put in show. So now, like, I'm playing this game. Now only the baseballs are showing up, which honestly I think is a little bit cooler. And now that my lives are 0, the game is stopped, and like I can't move my parrot anymore. So, and I'm gonna change the backdrop to look to, you know, to be something a little bit more pretty. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and start it again. The baseball's coming at me. I'm dodging it. I'm dodging it. Okay, we're good so far. Still good. Okay, it hits me. Hits me again. Game over, and then it freezes. Right? So that's, yeah, that's pretty much it. So that is the game. Like, that is the working game. And one thing you could also do is like increase the score. So you could say, Goofball Productions. Dobro pожаловать, as they would say in Russia. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I thought I'd give you a goofball welcome, you know. Speaking a different language. Right on. Where are you from, goofball? But again, this is the code for the baseball. I still think we need more, like a bigger, what am I saying? We need something to save the score, right? So we're going to create a variable, and we're just going to type score. And now score actually shows up. And you can actually drag these around, so you can have lives there. You can have a score on the other side. What is it going on? It was not letting me drag all the way. Weird. Okay, so now you can see lives and score. Now, nothing's happening with score yet, so I can change that. Essentially, this is what happens when it starts as a clone. It shows up, and then for 30 times, it moves negative 15x. Okay, so it's coming left. That's what that means. Negative x is left. Positive x is right. Going right. In Scratch, anyway. So what we want to do, right, is basically at the very end, right before it gets deleted, we want to change the score by 1. Boom. So now, for every baseball I dodge, I'm getting hit. I'm getting hit. Game over for me. So I got a score of 6. But then again, we need to do that same thing. So if I click on the green flag, the score is still there from last time. So I can just keep racking up score, but it's not like a real game when I can keep increasing my score. So what I got to do is at the beginning of the project, set score to 0. Right, on the parrot, I have set lives to 3, but on baseball, I want to have set score to 0. So now whenever I click the green flag, my lives are at 3, my score is at 0. Because I don't want them to be interfering with each other. Right? And now they can be totally independent. So there you go. Again, if you click on, oh, from the Philippines, heck yeah. That's awesome. I have some friends from the Philippines. So that's really awesome. In fact, my father-in-law has this really cool painting done by someone in the Philippines. It's like spans an entire wall, and it just looks really cool. He lived there for a time, so good stuff. Love the Philippines. So anyway, that is the parrot. And so now you've got the baseball. It's coming at you. You're able to dodge it. You're able to get a score. You're able to have a certain number of lives. Now, in my opinion, the parrot's going too slow. So I think you can actually change this number up to 15. Again, this is your choice. You can have the parrot go as fast or as slow as you want. In my case, yeah, I think it's much better if it can go faster. And I also think this can be a little bit more fun if you shrink them. So I'm going to say 70% size. Makes it a little bit easier. And you can make the baseballs bigger or smaller, kind of up to you. This would be kind of funny. Let's see if we can do like 2,000. All right, it'll do 200. All right, let's see. Let's see what happens. Whoa! That's huge. Holy moly. Okay, those are giant baseballs that you have to dodge. So again, you can do whatever size you want. You can do like 20% size. Now watch these baseballs. They're tiny little baseballs. In some sense, they're scarier. I don't know. But they also don't look like they're coming from all the way to the right of the screen. So it might be good to set X to like 240 at the beginning. Man. I don't know. Maybe 280? That's like off screen. Shouldn't make any difference. Yeah, it kind of doesn't. They kind of just pop into the screen. Yeah. So that gives you a little bit more time to react, and they're a little bit more baseball-like. It just depends on how hard you want. It would make sense if over time the baseballs got harder to dodge. Yeah, just essentially got harder to dodge. So, yeah. So definitely, if you came late, that's totally fine. The 6 people that are here that are watching, thank you for coming in here and watching. We've been on for about an hour, and so it's a little bit hard to go back and tell you everything, but I will tell you this, that all of the code that you need to make any of the games is going to be on the left. You drag it into the middle, and then you just stack it together like Legos in logical ways inside of these loops. And that is how you make a game. And again, you can literally just copy my project, remix my project. That's totally fine. Just click on my link at the bottom right. And also, I would say, we have a private tutoring website, and it's privatelessons.coderkids.com, right? And so that is where our private tutoring lessons are, and we'd love to tutor you one-on-one, like in a live video chat, kind of like this, but not a stream, right? Not public. Just, you and our teacher. And then we would teach you how to make pretty much any game that you want. Obviously, some games are way harder than others, and they would take a lot longer to build up to. But if you have an idea for a game, like, go after it, do it, like, do hard things and build really cool stuff. So, I mean, that's what we want to help you with. Like, we want to help you build the coolest things that you could possibly imagine at Coder Kids. Obviously, like, we only had an hour, so we made a pretty simple game. Now, I pretty much like it, okay? Hopefully Mafaz feels the same way. But, at the end of the day, y'all have way cooler ideas, and we just want to build those with you. Whether that's in Scratch, whether that's in Roblox, whether that's in Python, whether that's in Java or C++. Like, hey, do you want to build a website? Like, oh, Mafaz, hey, great. Yeah, so that's what we want to help you build. Like, we are so passionate about that. Like, that's why I'm taking part of my Saturday when you can hear my kids crying, like, to talk to you guys and make sure that you have this opportunity to learn how to code for free, right? Like, because because I'm passionate about that, because I care about it. So again, I'm James Thornock. You can call me Mr. Thor. And this has been like a lot of fun. Thanks for the interaction. I really, really appreciated it. Again, click on my link and remix the project. Have fun with it. The code is going to be there to stay. And I'd love to see your projects as well. Feel free to follow me like on Scratch if you want to see projects that, when they come out. Like, that's just if you want to. And then if you want to learn how to build stuff like on the regular with me, then definitely go to, the private lessons page and sign up there, and we can make it happen. So you guys are awesome. Thanks so much for coming.